Welcome to Nonprofit Network, powered by Stokes Auction Group. We are a group of fundraising professionals that specialize in raising funds to improve communities of all sizes. Hello, welcome. Hi, hello.
Hi, hello. All
Hello.
three of us say hello.
Hello.
Hello. No, is it
Strong silent type.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. My name is Shelby Stokes.
Kelly Schenfeld and Sawyer West here with you today on today's podcast?
Mr. West, Mr. Fresh.
Yep.
Yeah.
We
For
only got
sure.
a couple more weeks on Tuesdays with him, Shel.
Oh my goodness, kids are growing up. They're
Addie
going to
and
school.
Sawyer are going to Kindergarten Academy.
Yes, Kinder Academy is where they're going, and it's going to be great. It is pre-kindergarten, and I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, and your daughter has many boyfriends that she has to break up
This
with
is
to go
true.
into this, but she'll be
She
okay.
has two quote-unquote husbands at daycare,
Future
fiancés,
husbands.
yeah.
Fiancés.
And we said, hey, you have to break up with them. They're like, yeah, okay.
Okay, that's fine.
Just that easy.
Everybody loves me. It's
Just that
fine.
easy. Cut it out. Yeah. So there's going to be some tears on the breakup, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. They're
But
not going to be from her. They're going to be from the boys.
Yeah, I drop her off at daycare in the morning, and this morning I dropped her off, and I told her lead at the daycare, we're only going to have 2 weeks left. She's like, oh, so sad. Don't say it out loud. So changes are coming.
Change is the one thing we can count on in this business, Shelves.
Change is the one thing we can count on, and it feels like everything is ever changing. We were kind of talking about our season, like we're just starting to kick up and go into the fall. And we found that maybe some of the live auction items haven't been like hitting the high highs that we have expected them to.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to take an opportunity to talk about a couple of things. One, we're going to review our weekend, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. And then we're also going to talk about thank yous and how best that you can actually thank your guests for being a part of something like a fundraising event. So we're going to hop into all those topics. That said, what do you want to tell us about this weekend?
We had a killer auction this weekend. Killer. It was awesome. We had about 650 people. Great organization, boys and girls, one of the many that there are out there. This happened to be Snohomish. We were thrilled to be a part of it.
Nice.
There's been a kind of a changing of the guards there, and that's gone over really well. The little gal, Christina, that has really taken a forefront on it, and it was her show.
Wow.
And it was the first time it was really her show. And hey, Christina, if you ever watch this, hats off, girl, you're killing it.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was fun to be a part of it. It was a busy night, a lot going on. Some of the packages didn't bring what we thought they would bring, but that's something that you got to remember when you're putting these things together is that, know your audience and maybe know when something is getting tired. And that's a difficult thing to know because unfortunately you don't know it until it's tired.
Right. Yeah. I completely agree. And in terms of like things getting tired, what I find is if you wait too long, everything starts getting tired at the same time. Mm-hmm. And then it's very hard to replace like all of your items with new items. So it's better to kind of take a few off the table every year or year over year. And that way you can continue to freshen it up while keeping some of those packages alive. Because what's going to happen is you're going to replace one package that did really well, and then something else is going to pop off, and then you can bring in that new item and drop maybe something that's been around for a couple of years. So
yeah, and it's okay to put something that's been popular on hold. Give it a year off, because then what it does is it creates for the group that is usually coming there every year, they're going to wonder where that item was. So it will actually pique the interest for that item for the following year. You can, or something that you've doubled every year, don't double it, really juke your audience a little bit and make sure that you don't wear it out.
Right. Yeah. We offered a package this weekend that was like the 10th year of doing an Italian dinner. And it's hosted by a wonderful couple of families that come together and do this package. 10 years, though. Like, it's had a good legacy.
Yep.
It's had some very high highs. But, boy, howdy, I did not get to the price point where they felt good doubling it. Mm-hmm. And it's the first time that has played out in a couple of years. Yeah. So I don't know that this one, it's hard to turn this one down because there is a legacy there, but you can tell that it's not succeeding to the heights that it did in the past.
And the difficulty of that is that you have multiple things that you have to be aware of. The first thing that you have to be aware of is your donor. You don't want your donor to feel like, okay, people are tired of it. You don't want them to run into that feeling. You want them to always be glad that they're donating it. And if now all of a sudden it's brought, I'm just throwing a number out there, $5,000, let's say, for the last 9 years, and on year 10, you're having a hard time getting 2,500 out of it, that donor's starting to say, oh gosh, are we not that big of a deal? And that's actually not it at all, but it could give that perception to the donor. So you have to be mindful of that and careful of that, and maybe make them a part of a different package, change that dinner, change it up, change your items.
Yeah, and I also think that this could also have to do with the change of families in an organization, right? If somebody's coming into an event and they think that there's a new thing, and this could be something that's been done for 10 years, but if it's new to them, then it feels new and gains energy. So we see a lot of these Catholic-based communities that are constantly moving families through the school process. They can hold on to these items for many, many years, and the reason it works is because there's always a new family to kind of come and participate.
Yeah.
Whereas in the situation I had this weekend, it's a very tight-knit group of families, and I think they've all kind of experienced this dinner before. Is kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, and the same family typically isn't going to buy it every year. Sometimes that happens, but
Right.
So then you have to ask yourself who else in the audience besides these people that have bought it for the last 9 years is going to be wanting to buy it.
Yeah, for sure.
What was your highlight of your auction?
The highlight of my auction was essentially the fund a need call to action portion of the night. Where we asked for donations. Yeah, we were hoping for a little bit more traction at the top end in terms of our gifts, and that's okay. It didn't really pan out the way that we were hoping it would. But what happened was we got to a lower level and we were honoring a founder of the organization who has recently passed. And essentially this family has set up a blueprint to provide housing to adults with disabilities, and basically has built a program, and from their brainchild in the 90s, essentially has come a group of homes, which is like 5 or 6 different homes that house residents to the tune of 4 or 5 people with somebody that's also a caregiver or an assistant. I don't think caregiver is the name they prefer to use, but long story short, when we went to honor this family, the individual's daughter came up and spoke to her father's passing. And this individual is an adult with disabilities.
Okay.
And she essentially talked about how much she missed her father first and foremost, but then talked about the community and the individuals that were involved in her house that she loved so much. And those are her family. And it was just a very moving moment that we didn't see coming. We didn't expect her to come up and speak, and she did, and boy, it was a very, very powerful moment.
Powerful moments, Shelby, are what drive Fund a Needs, right? And that's something to try to remember. Our Fund a Need video was amazing. It really, really was. You can really have a powerful moment and keep that power and it creates, energy in the room. Or you can have a speaker before the video or after the video, and it's wah, wah, wah. Oh. So choose either the appropriate two to go together. And it's your job as the event person or the leader of the ED, let's say, it's your job to say, development director. Can you tell me what your speech is? And does that coincide with the video that we have? And does it make the video stronger? Does it take away from the video? If so, have that speaker either be the Fund a Need speaker and no video and have the video later, or have the powerful video that's gonna grab the dollars and have your speaker be somewhere else. Yeah. So it sounds to me like you had the speaker that she just impromptu parked it.
Exactly right. Exactly. Very impromptu. Didn't see it coming. And I've been in situations recently where people have said we don't want it to be super heavy-handed, but we have this video and we have the speaker. And I kind of put the video at the, hindsight being what it is. You try to do your best to set the stage to have gifts come in, But at the end of the day, your goal is to make that as authentic as possible, to share the message in the most authentic means necessary. Now, sometimes a video can feel a little heavy-handed and might not connect. Other times, speakers can fall flat, but really moving those pieces in to control the narrative is your goal here.
What would be your suggestion to somebody that's putting an auction together today, if they were to call us and they were to say, you know, what should we do right before the fund a need? How would you tell them to construct, or whether it be their speaker or their video? Well, how would you do that? How would you lead them?
First question is, what is your mission? Like, what are you trying to accomplish this year? Now, we're cancer research, right? A very big, gray, hard to fathom thing like that can fall a little deaf on some ears. So what you need is like a goal that you're trying to accomplish that night. We need $30,000 for a bus to get people to and from Boys and Girls Club. We need $100,000 for a new playground so kids can play at the private school. Like whatever that is, you then reverse engineer the mission that you want to paint. So if it is a playground, maybe a PE teacher or somebody that is the underlying health expert in a school could be someone that could speak. If they have the right personality, you know, that's something to discuss. Otherwise, you're looking at shooting a video and putting some video content together. That can be done via videographer or in-house.
What do you think about having your entire night be getting ready for the Fund a Need video? So like in your silent auction, pictures that are out of your video possibly, or little snippets here and there of what's to come. And that way it's priming their pump all night for these stories, right? So you know that you've got 5 kids with cancer.
Yeah.
Those, which is disgusting and breaks my heart. I hate it. But those pictures of these kids are throughout the silent auction. Or you're building a house or homes for struggling individuals. Those pictures of those families that you're building those houses for during Fund a Need or Raise the Paddle are throughout your silent. That's a miss, I think, sometimes. I don't see that a lot. Oh, that was an epic bad time. I'm so
Quarter
sorry.
of the jar.
Yes, so sorry.
One thing that I will say about my weekend is they really controlled the narrative of what was trying to be accomplished very, very well. So we did not have a silent auction this year, but instead they had activation sites, and there were 3 different tables where we had residents and or assistants essentially talking them through what the organization did, and one of them was like a video walkthrough of one of the homes. So it did a good job of like telling the story, and then when we got to the ED's speech, she essentially leaned into like one thing that you can do for somebody can have a knock-on effect that will really have unforeseen great consequences in your world. Like being nice to one person one time could have essentially saved their life, and 15 years later maybe they do cure cancer. Right? You just don't know what positive impact you're having. So all that to say, like the narrative that was told through this entire event was really, really intelligently done, and I thought shared the message well. So if you are like looking for that message or how to paint it forward, there's multiple ways to do it, but creativity is king.
So that kind of opens it up to this a little bit, Shelby.
Yeah. What do we have here?
You know, you talk about, you know, you never know how you will affect one person could be affected, which could actually be years of positive outcome for your organization or for people. So at our Boys and Girls Club this last weekend, they gave us these thank you gifts that were done by Youth of the Year. And they're not much, but they're a simple idea that says thank you for what you did. And this can sit on somebody's desk for the entire year. And you don't know what thanking your people that show up to your auction for, you don't know what their next year looks like. Yeah. You don't know if they may have a windfall. You don't know if they may run into trouble. You don't know if your thank you is that one moment that brings them back to your organization for somebody they know to help, or somebody they want to help more, or any of that. And what they are, they're just little gifts. This one says, the Boys and Girls Club has always been a warm and welcoming place. After my first day attending, I knew I would never want to leave. And that was by the 2023 Tulalip of the Year. Wow. youth of the year, and then just this little picture, and then inside, and it's a little, like a little art piece, and it's just lovely that it can sit somewhere and remind your donors that you really did appreciate them. And then these little things that said, "You are awesome." No, I'm going to read mine. Mine says, "There is no equal to you."
It's like a little fortune cookie.
It's like a little fortune
beautiful.
cookie that came with
beautiful.
it. But, the impact that it could have after your auction and up into your next one.
Yeah. I mean, I can actually speak to this because I kind of collect these a little bit. Like, I have a bunch at my desk, which are just thank you gifts over the year. And I can literally, like, look at them and tell you where each one of them is from. Like, this one is from Boys and Girls Club of New Mexico.
Right.
And it's a hand-painted tile that I'll forever remember the contact that we work with down there. He's since moved on to another organization, but every time I see it, I think of him.
Yeah.
And hope that he's doing well. So you just don't know how powerful these gifts are. We at this last weekend, we were contemplating, like, what kind of gifts to go forward with. And they really leaned into a narrative piece, which was like giving the gift of a lollipop to express thanks for the little things that you've done over a lifetime.
Yeah.
And so they were able to take those lollipops home and hand them out. Now, you may want something like a little bit more like tangible, or like you're going to eat a lollipop and it's going to go away.
Right.
Or it's going to sit on your desk potentially. But I mean, I think what you're trying to do with these thank you gifts is you're trying to send a message from your organization that gives them a lasting memory that will be a core memory for them in their fundraising journey, no matter
as well as
it is.
tease them up for next year's event.
Yeah.
And they will feel appreciated for the funds that they did give. And maybe it was a year that they didn't have the opportunity to give as much as they wanted to. And they will still feel appreciated, which will move them to possibly, more than likely, probably donate more the next year. Always remember that we are constantly in these events, night of, we are also talking about tomorrow's dollars. It's important to remember that we don't know what their situation was that night and what they are experiencing personally or professionally, but that we want to leave them with the thought that we always need you and whatever you give us matters. So until next year, thank you for what you did do. And that will be that thought in their mind for next year.
Thank you for what you did do.
Give us more!
Thank you for what you did
Give
do.
us more!
No,
we need more!
No, thank you for what you did do. That's every auctioneer's favorite line for sure. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
On this week's episode.
Yes, and the way that we can be forever thankful to you is by you liking us and subscribing to us and saying, hey, you know what? I would say 1 out of 10 of your podcasts are amazing, and we're okay with that. Or 1 out of 20. Even.
I'm really trying to focus on what brings you, the end user, value. Like, what can we do here to provide value to you? Your intention does carry value, and we want to honor that, but also give you stuff that you can use. So, if you have any questions, ideas, things that you want us to discuss. We are on the cutting edge of this fundraising event space. We're having a lot of conversations all the time with organizations of all sizes. And there's a lot of unknown right now. And it feels like we're coming back into a normal fundraising season, which is a blessing. But at the same time, there's things that are starting to get tired.
Yes.
It feels like the auction is feeling a little tired. And a lot of it is because you're bringing back items that survived a pandemic and now they're back. Last year, it was easier because it was our first year back.
It was easier. People were throwing money at us. Now we are having to pry the wallets open.
It's a little bit more challenging, but that's okay. That's okay. Because what we're doing is we're using the auction process to build a narrative that ultimately drives fundraising.
Right.
And that is our goal. So I kind of went on a tangent there. Our goal is to bring you value. So if you have any input on how we can better do that, we would love to hear from you.
Yes, and we can hear from you either in a comment or you can email Shelby at stokesauctiongroup.com or me at shenmom5@live.com. We just gave you our email, so Don't send us anything
We're
naughty.
on the internet.
We're on the internet. It's happening, but you know what? We're going to try this. Who knows? Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
we want you to succeed.
Yeah, and obviously we're a person down today. There was a little bit of a family happening where Paul had to bow out, but we're thinking of you, Paul. We love you, dude, and we will see you all next week.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.